Good morning. This broadcast brought to you by 106th Street Tire and Wheel. Get your automotive stuff done at 106th Street Tire and Wheel, located in Corona, New York, 11365. We are officially live here at True to New York Sports Studios, featuring the Mr. Chucky himself, Billy Punch, and myself, dressed up as myself because I'm already looking like a Halloween costume as it is, so it's fine. But we are here. We are live. No, Billy did not fall on his face because you got too drunk yesterday. Billy is he just decided to stay in costume as Chucky, right, Billy?
Yep. Well, you got the Hammond part right. Still
right.
Maybe. It's all good.
Doesn't matter. But all we know is that this week ain't a football, Billy.
Absolutely. And the one thing I don't know is, how the hell are we going to improve foreign relations in this company when we keep sending shit teams like the Denver Broncos overseas to play games in London? I just don't get it.
I mean, Billy, the fact that we're calling the Denver Broncos a shit team, meanwhile, both of us thought that they were going to compete for this AFC West championship, and it's not even close.
The sad thing is the whole AFC West has been shit, and we thought it was going to be the best division in football.
Right. The Raiders are what? 2-4 right now, and the Chargers are 4-3, and the Chiefs are surprisingly 5-2, and Mahomes is looking like he doesn't even need no Tyreek Hill in the first place. So
it's
1-5.
That division.
Yeah,
that division has been horrendous, and that's being kind.
Right.
And sure. Speaking of horrendous, I called it last week. It was my bold prediction on this show last week that there was going to be a quarterback controversy in New England, and there is. And I don't know what Belichick's thinking at all. I mean, nobody normally does, but this is even more of an extreme case. He started Mac Jones last week. The crowd was literally chanting for Zappe, and it was just unreal. He brings Zappe in, then tries to say that, this was my plan the entire time. Bullshit in plain English, because Mac Jones went out there, played horrible. He brought Zappe in. They still lost the game, and now he's going back to Mac Jones this week. I don't know what they're doing in New England at all.
Yeah, Billy, I think they're a little confused, and especially, you know what? The reason why he might be bringing in Mac Jones is because they're not playing in New England. So the fact that they're not playing in New England, maybe listen, for all we know, we gotta also remember, this is like the first time, even before Tom Brady hasn't been on the team hasn't been on the team with the Patriots, that the Patriots are legit not good, right? Like, they're just not a good football team. And I don't know if this is a Bill Belichick trying to save face, or if this is upper management saying, listen, just bring in whatever's going to make fans happy.
No, I think Belichick is trying to still prove he's the smartest guy in the room when clearly he's not. I mean, and you see it now more than ever that Belichick and Brady needed each other. But yeah, Tom Brady won a Super Bowl with some superb talent in Tampa Bay. But when the top line talent's not there, you see how both of them, it's just not the same anymore.
No, it's not. No, not at all. I mean, and did anybody expect the Bucs to be 3-5 at this point? Like, come on. No, not at all. Like,
I'm not shocked by at all, because not for nothing, they're getting old.
Yeah.
They're an old team, and they're playing like an old team. And I don't think this coaching change was very good for them. Todd Bowles is more and more seems like that guy that he's a great coordinator, not so great in the top seat. The top seat's not for everybody, and that's been proven for years in the NFL, probably more than anywhere else. And Todd Bowles and the Bucs are proving it right now more than anything. But Lou, the biggest thing going on in the NFL last week and this week, and for the next probably close to 2 months, Ja'Marr Chase is out with a hip injury. That is a huge blow to this Bengals team. I know everybody's saying, oh, they still have T. Higgins, they still have Tyler Boyd, they still have Hayden Hurst. Remember, those guys got open for the plays that they're open for because of the focus on Jamar Chase.
Sure.
So now it's going to be real interesting to see when T. Higgins is the shutdown point of an offense. Is he still going to be as good? And I don't know if he's going to be as good. I don't know if the Bengals are going to be as good without Jamar Chase.
Here's the thing. I'm looking at their schedule right now. They're playing the Browns this week, and they're playing the Panthers the following week, and then the following week they are playing. They have a bye. So if Jamar Chase, let's just say for instance, doesn't play the next 4 weeks, technically he's only missing one game out of those games. And the two of those, and one of them is a bye, and two of those games are against teams that are just god awful right now. So if he's going to if he's not going to play, this is the right time for Jamar Chase to actually not play, in my opinion.
I don't think there's a right time. I mean, they're in second place in that division behind, they could be tied if they win today for first with Baltimore. And this is a terrible time to be missing games. And they're saying 4 to 6 weeks. It might be too late by then, honestly.
Right. No, it's true. It might be because the Ravens are obviously heating up, but it's hard to just say that the Bengals aren't going to do anything at all, or they might be in trouble, because even I know this might sound stereotypical, but even without Jamar Chase, they still have a pretty good offensive lineup. And honestly, the big thing, in my opinion, Billy, is going to be their defense, because their defense has been really spotty the entire year.
Yeah, their defense has been spotty. Their offensive line has been spotty. I mean, Chet saying Joe Mixon will be huge. Let's see how huge Joe Mixon is going to be when they put 8 in the box and they're daring Joe Burrow and probably the worst offensive line in the league to beat them. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to hold up. I think this is going to be a lot bigger loss than anyone may anticipate.
It might, Billy. Like I said, their schedule is just, Browns, Panthers, bye. I think they're going to be okay.
Hey, don't badmouth the Panthers, man. They could be in first place in the NFC South after today's game. Just think about that. Either the Panthers or the Falcons are going to be in sole possession of first place after today's game.
It's going to be the Falcons. It's going to be the Falcons.
Hey, I don't want to spoil anything, but I may or may not agree with you on that one.
Right.
But Lou, let's look at something that we don't talk about a lot in the NFL, because it's usually not very eventful, but this year looks to be a little different. Tuesday is the trade deadline in the NFL, and there could still be some big moves to make. Christian McCaffrey's already been moved. You're hearing rumors of Kareem Hunt, Alvin
Kamara going to the Eagles.
I don't. From everything I saw, both sides are denying that. I don't know. I heard yesterday that the Niners are now taking calls on Jeff Wilson now that they got CMC.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants making the big move of trading Kadarius Toney for what I think was a great haul. I think the Giants get a 3rd and a 6 for a guy that doesn't want to be there, a guy that was at odds with the last regime, seems to be at odds with this team. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Chet, I'd love to see Brandon Cooks, but I want Jerry Jeudy. That is the biggest rumor, Jerry Jeudy to the Giants. That's what I want. I would love to see the Giants take the picks that they just got, and it's going to cost a little more than that, but bring Jerry Jeudy to New York. That's what I would love to see.
Yeah, Billy, the only thing I will say that's a little disappointing with Toney is that we wasted a first-round pick on him last year, right? Just for him to literally play 2-3 games with us, which only seemed like.
I get it.
I
get it, but sucks. You know what? They did what you should do. When it's not a fit, move on. Don't sit there. It's the best thing that happened for the Giants as an organization is the change in regime.
Yeah.
They didn't pick him. They have no loyalty to him. So they were able to turn around and say, all right, this guy doesn't fit. let's make the move now while there's value there.
Right. No, it makes sense. And you know what? He'll probably be a star in Kansas City.
He's going to the place where if he's not one there, I don't think he's ever going to be in the NFL. Everybody's talking about him filling in the Tyreek Hill role in that offense, and we know how good Tyreek Hill was in that offense with Mahomes. I don't know. To me, this is the make or break situation for Kadarius Toney personally.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But listen, I would love Jerry Jeudy. I'm going to tell you right now, Billy, but the only thing that scares me about Jerry Jeudy is that Jerry Jeudy gets hurt. Jerry Judy's been hurt 3 times in 2 years already. And I don't know. I would love Jerry Jeudy, but if I would be happy with Brandon Cooks as well.
Oh, I mean, there's really no wrong answer there. But to me,
what is this? What does that mean? Andrew, what's wrong with you?
Andrew's my number one fan. I mean, come on. That's my guy right there.
Right.
But absolutely.
What's up, Andrew?
There's no wrong answer with who would be a good fit. I mean, any upgrade to the Giant receiving corps would be an upgrade, just that, an upgrade at this point in time.
Well, Billy, also, this year, listen, we all know that Daniel Jones is a running quarterback, but I think he surprised a lot of us with how much he can actually use his feet. And now it's time to show his arm and show how versatile he actually is.
Lou, I mean, as far as Daniel Jones goes, it just shows you what happens when you get good coaching.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest change in Daniel Jones's game is the coaching, the scheme. It seems like just for years, they were not playing to his strengths.
Right.
And now you are, and you're seeing a guy that I'm not going to say he's a great NFL quarterback, but you're seeing a starting caliber NFL quarterback. And I think you're seeing the guy that's going to be the Giants quarterback because what do you do at this point? You got a team that could be 7-1 after today, and you're not going to make changes. You're not going to backtrack and say, oh, you know what? We decided we're not going to go with Jones. We're going to draft a quarterback and basically start from the ground again. They're not going to do that.
Right.
I mean, you're looking at, I got to be honest, at worst case right now, you're looking at an 8-9 win Giant team. And that would be a bad finish to the year if they only win 2 or 3 more games the second half of the year. But you're talking 8-9 wins. You're not going to take that team and blow the offense up. You're going to bring back Daniel Jones. To me, I've been an advocate now at this point of give him 2 to 3 years. $18 million. I'm sorry. It might sound like a big number. That's going rate for a starting NFL quarterback at this point. He'd still be making less than Jared Goff. And I think if you poll 100 people are taking Daniel Jones over Jared Goff at this point. Give him $18 million a year for 3 years, fully guarantee it, and there you go. Because to me, I hope in 3 years that Brian Dable and Joe Schoen are still running the show here in New York. And if they want to cut ties at that point, cut ties. To me, draft a quarterback this year in the late rounds. Start developing him as a backup, maybe as a future play. I don't know. Remember, Aaron Rodgers sat on the bench behind Brett Favre for quite a while. The Packers drafted Jordan Love to do the same thing, even though we don't know how that's going to work out yet. It's been done, and it could be done in the future. But to me, Daniel Jones has earned the right to be back next year as a starting quarterback as the Giants.
I mean, as of right now, Billy, yes. It's only obviously halfway into the season. He's earned the spot so far. Listen, Billy, if he starts having some of the same trouble that he had, fumbling the ball, bad passes for interceptions, let's see how he does for an actual full season without being injured, without only having a half of a year of good play compared to the other half. Like, I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong, but I want to see him obviously in a full good year under a good head coach. And this is the year he has to do it. Obviously, this is the year.
I agree with you. But like I said, I don't see an alternative out there except for the draft where the Giants aren't going to have a top pick. Remember that also. This is a team that's winning games. They're going to be, at worst case, somewhere in the middle of the draft. And
Right.
you might not get the quarterback because there are going to be a lot of teams drafting quarterbacks next year. There are going to be teams at the top of this draft that are going to be drafting quarterbacks. You have the Colts, probably the Falcons may be up there. The Falcons might be looking for a quarterback. The Panthers are going to be looking for a quarterback. You have teams up there that are going to be drafting at the quarterback position this year. So it's you're not starting over with a rookie on a team that, like I said, at minimum is going to win 8-9 games. And free agent wise, there's not a fit to the offense the Giants are running right now. Like, you're not bringing Jimmy Garoppolo in, who I thought before I saw what this offense is doing may be a good stopgap fit. You're not going to do that. He's not the fit anymore for the offense they're running. Jimmy Garoppolo is not running around like Daniel Jones and making things happen on the run.
Right. No, you're right. And that's why Tyrod Taylor is a great backup for someone like Daniel Jones because they have very similar play.
Exactly. And you know what the biggest thing is? The Giants finally got it right. And they signed a backup quarterback similar to their starter to keep the offense the same if there is an injury. Like, you look at what the Giants had last year. I mean, take skill level aside for a second of Mike Glennon, but that was two totally different offenses. You had Daniel Jones who can make things happen. Then you went to Mike Glennon, who was a statue back there.
Right.
That's two different types of offense that you're trying to run. And they didn't even, as we saw, they didn't even run one type good, let alone two.
Right. Very true. Very true, Billy.
Well, Luke, speaking of teams that are not running an offense good, we got to, before we get into the Jets, let's talk about Tampa Bay.
Ugh.
And what the hell is going on there? I mean, yeah, Tom Brady announced his divorce. Like, nobody was shocked at that. I don't even think he needed to release a statement. We knew
Right.
Once he came back and everything we heard, we knew Giselle was packing up and going.
Right. And you know, it's one of those things where obviously we all don't know to the extent of the personal relationship of Tom Brady. But obviously, is there a coincidence that the Tampa Bay Bucks offense looks like just looks old and run down and beaten up after Tom Brady's divorce is happening with Giselle? Maybe. I don't think so. You know, I mean, listen, this is not Tom Brady's first marriage. I'm sure he's had some relationship issues before. And he's been able to play. Obviously, the age is catching up. The play, I agree with. I have to agree with Chet and you. I think they're just old. They're just old and outdated, and they're lucky they're in the division they're in. Otherwise, they would be in trouble for a playoff spot right now.
They are, and you know what it is. I feel like the worst thing they did was not have Bruce Arians on the sidelines.
Right.
Even though he sneaks down there half the time and you see him on the field, but
right.
Bruce Arians was what kept his team moving. I mean, to me, there's a lot of people out there blaming Byron Leftwich. No, this isn't a Byron Leftwich problem. Byron Leftwich is a damn good offensive coordinator. This is an old team, a team that, you know what? I compare them, their football's version of the Yankees. Let's get the old vet in here, the Julio Jones. Let's bring Leonard Fournette back for another year. Let's keep trying to get that lightning in a bottle, and they're not getting it. I mean, they are probably the most banged up team in the NFL. Julio Jones, I mean, the guy hasn't stayed on the field in years. What made you think this was going to be any different? Chris Godwin, injuries. He's back now. Let's see how long that lasts. Leonard Fournette, he just looks old now. I mean, he's not old. I mean, he's younger than us, but
right.
He's just old. And the one thing I can't figure out, they have the youth. They have Rachaad White, who you see the energy when he comes in the game, but they won't go away from Leonard Fournette. I don't get it. It's like to me, watching Peraza sit on the bench in the playoffs when we knew he could bring some sort of energy to their team on the field, but they're just not putting him there. And like I said, it starts with the coach. And to me, Todd Bowles just isn't a very good head coach, and he's not the guy to be running this team.
And I'm pretty sure Jet fans would be able to agree with you on that too, considering that after was Todd Bowles the coach? I forget. Was he the coach after Rex Ryan?
Yes.
I think it was. I think he was. So yeah, so he had a lot of shoes to fill, especially since the Jets went to those two AFC championship games. And then on top of that, now he has more shoes to fill because they won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. I'm not saying he's been put in the best spots, but obviously there's something wrong there. And listen, I want to say it's also tough to say to Tom Brady, hey, Tom Brady, we don't want you back this year. Like, it's just one of those things, like it's.
No, I mean, for this year, don't get me wrong. The way they didn't address quarterback even before they knew Brady wasn't coming back, before they knew he was coming back or anything like that. Tom Brady is the best answer for this team this year based on what their quarterback room looks like. But they need to move on. Yeah. Tampa Bay needs to be one of those teams, regardless of where they are in the first round. They need to be drafting the best quarterback available, and they need to blow that team up, especially on the offensive side of the ball. That team needs a quarterback.
Yeah, agreed. And listen, arguably on paper, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin as a 1 and 2, like that's.
Yeah, I mean,
put somebody who can move the ball and throw it, and you'll be fine.
Absolutely. Like, get away from the old guys, get to the young guys, and you're going to see a difference. And that's going to take me right in to the Jets. The Jets, after all these years, right now, the Jets finally seem to be getting it. I mean, at the beginning of the season, in the preseason, people were calling for Rob Saleh to go. Right. But Rob Saleh and his coaching staff are turning this team around. Look at this team right now. In the last 3 weeks, Zach Wilson has only thrown for 1 touchdown, and they've won all 3 games. Right. It is nothing short of remarkable. But today's the day, Lou. Today is the day the Jets need to make a statement. This is years in the making that they need to make a statement. They need to put their foot on the Patriots' throat and not take it off until the final gun goes off. Right. This is a team that's run scores up on them, embarrass them, mock them, and everything else. Yeah, it might not be the same Patriots, but they need to look at it and go, that Patriots logo is on the helmet. You are the enemy.
Right. No, Billy, I agree with you. And this is the first time that I can comfortably say that I think the Jets are just an overall better football team. And despite the record, what offense besides Stevenson are the Patriots going to be having? What? Yeah, Louis, congrats. You're going to be beating the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. Great job. What happened to the first 7 games of the year from the Broncos? They look horrible, bro. They look horrible. Anyways, but back to the Jets. Like, they actually seem like the better football team against New England. And I'm actually really happy for Jet fans because I didn't even think you guys were going to have 5 wins in the year. Same way the Giants. I didn't think the Giants were going to have 7 wins, and they're on the way for the 7th win in the 8th week. Like, it's really nice to be an NFL New York football fan and say that every single New York team, including the Buffalo Bills, is a good team. Money doesn't lie like the pet. Okay, fair.
No, I mean, it's time to say it. The Pats are not good.
They're washed up, brother.
There's no question of who is the better team. The Jets are the better team. I mean, they got hit with 2 big injuries last week. I mean, to me, Vera Tucker is a bigger injury than Breece Hall because I think Michael Carter, they proved how they feel about their team by going out right away, credit to Joe Douglas, and getting James Robinson, who was probably the best running back after McCaffrey on the market. And it makes me wonder if Breece Hall got hurt a week earlier, would the Jets have been players for CMC? I think it might have shocked you, and I think they might have been. But they brought in a damn good back. only drama we've seen with the Jets this year, the Eli Moore situation demanding a trade, but he's back. He's active today. He's going to be a big part of that passing offense because Corey Davis is out. And I think we're not going to hear a whisper about that going away. And you know why? Winning solves problems. And that was the biggest problem the Jets have had for years. They have these problems because they don't win. And the microscope shines on those problems a lot bigger and a lot brighter when you're not winning. You start winning, you start hearing a lot less. Like, look at the Giants right now. You don't hear these things. You don't hear anything but good coming out of the Giants. You know, we don't hear about the crap that's probably going on behind closed doors with Kenny Golladay, who they'd love to get rid of. You didn't hear much about drama with Kadarius Toney. I mean, yeah, he went the Twitter route after he got traded and claimed he was healthy. But these things aren't making it out in public when you're winning because people are focused on football. And the Jets are playing good football. The Jet defense, especially the secondary, has been better than anyone thought they were going to be. I mean, we all knew Sauce Gardner was a dog, but my man is a dog out there on that defense. He is.
Yeah, go to NFL TV, go and get a virus.
Yes,
go ahead.
Absolutely. You must be on the island of Zamunda with King Jaffa with that name out there.
Right.
Yes. Good morning, my neighbors. That's what you're doing out there, my man. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a fan. But Sauce Gardner is a dog, Lou. I mean, he looks to be already one of the top cover corners in the NFL.
Darrelle Revis who?
I mean, my personal feelings on Darrelle Revis aside, because I can't stand the man, but exactly. I mean, we're already talking about this guy in week 8 in the same sentence of someone like Darrelle Revis.
Right. No, I mean, I listen, it's hard not to say it. Listen, you say no, not yet. It's hard not to say it when he looks great out there. He's hit. The secondary has been one of the reasons that the Jets have been able to keep teams in check, considering that the Broncos scored 9 points against them last week. Right. Like things like that.
Absolutely. I mean, this team has to get the credit they deserve. They're playing good football.
Yep.
It's you know, Chet's still, you know, the get off my lawn guy, the Jets stink and everything else. No, it's not the case anymore. They're going to go out there today. They're going out in the all black uniforms and they're going to win a football game. And look at it this way, guys. Let this sink in. I'm going to spoil one of my bold predictions for the day. Next week, we are going to be watching the Jets versus the Bills for first place in the AFC East.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? I mean, well, we can talk about that next week, but do I think the Jets will win that game? No. But we'll talk about that next week.
But the fact that they're there,
of course,
and the fact that they're taking those steps is incredible. No, I don't need to talk about it next week. I will absolutely be picking the Buffalo Bills in that game, especially in Flora Park. I mean, there's no question about it. The Bills are the best team in football.
Right.
But for the Jets to be there and just in this spot in a year where we were all talking as the Jets, at best case, being the third or fourth team in that division, because, I mean, let's be real.
Last.
The Dolphins are good. The Patriots this Patriot team was a playoff team last year. Whether we like it or not, they were a playoff team last year.
Right.
The Jets look better than both of those teams right now, but they have to get better play out of the quarterback position. Just imagine if they open up this offense and let Zach Wilson go and start letting Zach Wilson do the things that Brian Daboll's doing with Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
There's a dimension of that team that hasn't even been opened yet, and they're playing that good. So imagine, and I've been a Zach Wilson supporter from the beginning. I was in favor of Zach Wilson in the draft. I think Zach Wilson, when all said and done, can still have the better career than Trevor Lawrence. I said it last year. I'm saying it now. I mean, but this kid, there is still another level for him to get to.
Yeah, and watch out and don't bring your mom to the game either. Just that's the only thing. If you decide to go see Zach Wilson, just don't bring your mom to the game.
I mean, his MILF hunting skills are spot on. When his play,
best in the league,
when his play catch up to the MILF hunting skills, I mean, we're talking next level. We're talking Giselle's next man there, Lou.
Right, we're talking Pro Bowl status there.
Let's get real. Giselle's leaving Tom for Zach Wilson. I mean,
right?
We want to talk about having that dog in you. Zach Wilson is that dog.
There's just tons of dogs on the Jets between Sauce and Zach Wilson.
Chet, yeah, we know they're playing the Bills twice in the next 5 weeks. Nobody realistically is going to say the Jets are better than the Bills. I don't think there's anybody better than the Bills right now. You're talking about the number one offense and number one defense in the entire NFL.
Right.
But for the Jets to be there, for the Jets to be in the conversation midway through the year as a potential playoff team, for the bringing excitement to a game like that, it's great. It's great for New York. It's great for football. Nobody can deny that.
Yep. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. If I would have told you that the New York football teams in New York City are combined 11-3 over, the last their first 7 games, I think you would think I'm crazy. Just by saying that.
I mean, you're right. I don't want to get too much into next week, but that is going to be the ultimate test for Sauce. Next week, Stefon Diggs. I expect to see Sauce shadowing Stefon Diggs for the whole game.
Right.
And it's going to be a great matchup, and that could turn into one of the premier matchups in the AFC, if not all the NFL, for years to come. That could turn into one of the great rivalries if both players continue to play up to their potential and up to their ability.
And stay with the team, right? And stay with their team.
Oh, so. I mean, I don't think Josh Allen is letting Stefon Diggs out of Buffalo anytime before retirement, to be honest with you. And, I mean, Sauce ain't going nowhere. There's no way the Jets aren't making Sauce a Jet Captain for a real long time.
For sure. No, agree. And so, Billy, we spoke about the Jets. Billy, the backup quarterback for both the New York Jets, for both the New York Giants, for the Seattle Seahawks for a long time. Geno Smith, probably, in my opinion, the most improved football player in the league at the moment. Did not expect this start from Geno Smith. They beat the Chargers last week, too. Billy, I think, a lot of Giant fans I've been seeing on posts and forums are saying that the Giants are going to crush Seattle. I think this is going to be a harder matchup than they think.
It's going to be a game. And let me be clear. Geno Smith is in not even the most improved player conversation. Geno Smith is legitimately right now, as we sit here, in the MVP conversation for the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a guy that right now, honestly, he's embodying what an MVP should be. You're talking about a guy that is legitimately making an entire team better and making them contenders. This isn't like the BS you see in baseball where guys are winning MVPs on last place teams. No, this is a team in the playoff hunt, in the division hunt, that the biggest difference in their offense is Geno Smith right now. I mean, yeah, Kenneth Walker, they're finally have a running back out there that is damn good and can stay on the field, because we haven't seen that in Seattle in years. Since Marshawn, let's be real. Because for all the talent that Carson and Rashad Penny have, neither one of them could ever stay healthy. And I don't think either one comes back. I mean, I believe he's retired now.
Retired, yeah.
Rashad Penny's injured again. He's never going to be a starting running back in Seattle, if not in the NFL at all anymore, because Kenneth Walker is the real deal. I mean, It was said in training camp, it was said during the preseason, they're building a legit offense now in Seattle. And Geno Smith, he's the centerpiece of it. I mean, maybe Pete Carroll, and we don't think about this enough. Anybody that has conversations, we all think we know a ton. Oh, this guy stinks. That guy's good. This guy stinks. It's finally time to admit that maybe Pete Carroll knew more than any of the fans, any of the sports talk hosts. And Pete Carroll had his quarterback all along.
Right. And he's showing it. And listen, even last year when Russell Wilson got hurt for a few games, Geno Smith won them those games. Geno Smith single-handedly won them those games. And I just didn't think that even though he had Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, that he was going to be able to perform the way he's performing. Billy, he scored 3 games this year over 35 points. I didn't think that was possible for somebody like Geno Smith.
I mean, we looked at it this year. You could talk about it from a fantasy perspective. Everybody downgraded DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Oh, they're not going to get the ball thrown. Everybody really thought after the Russell Wilson trade that if they didn't do anything in free agency, that Drew Lock was going to be the starter, that Drew Lock went to Seattle to be the starter. And that's not the case. And I don't know if it ever was at this point. I think you look at it, I don't think Pete Carroll ever had any intention of going to anyone but Geno Smith. I mean, you legitimately see the Seattle offense doing more with Geno Smith than they did with Russell Wilson. I mean, You could say that Pete Carroll is letting Geno cook.
Right, it's true.
It's a fact.
Yeah,
this offense is looking better right now with Geno Smith as the quarterback than it has in years with Russell Wilson. And the one thing I like about Geno Smith, I like the confidence. Yeah. He's not coming off as arrogant. He's not coming off as an ass. He's a guy that comes off confident in himself. He's a guy that when they ask him, oh, are you happy to be proving the doubters wrong? He's like, yeah. He goes, turning the page. He goes, no, this is still my book. And I knew it was. I'm still writing the chapters in my story. And he's right. He is. And I think Geno Smith is going to be the starter in Seattle for a couple of years. I think they're building something there.
Yeah, Bill, you know what's crazy? I saw somebody make a post the other day, and they brought it back up on their timeline. Geno Smith's been in the NFL since 2014. That's crazy to me that he's been in the NFL that long, and that the fact that he's now developed per se, because remember, he was back up to Eli, he was back up to Mark Sanchez he was back up to also?
No, he was the starter. He was drafted by the Jets.
Well, that's what I saw. Right.
But you got to remember, this guy, and it takes people, sometimes it takes some guys longer to develop, and there's nothing wrong with that. But look what he did. He backed up Eli Manning. He backed up Russell Wilson. And now he looks like someone who's more than ready to take the reins of an NFL offense. And that's the problem with a lot of these quarterbacks. And I mean, if you look at the logic, it makes sense. They're drafted by bad teams. Like Trevor Lawrence was drafted by a bad Jaguars team. Zach Wilson was drafted by a bad Jets team. Baker Mayfield was drafted by a bad Cleveland team. They're not going into good situations.
Right.
And you look at Geno Smith. He went and sat a few years behind good quarterbacks, and at least in Seattle, because definitely not with the Giants. He sat good coaching and in good quarterback rooms, and he learned something, and he picked some stuff up. Look at Aaron Rodgers. There's no better example than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers went to a good team, sat behind a good quarterback, and then made a seamless transition. Tom Brady was drafted to a good team with a good quarterback and made a seamless transition when it was his time to play.
Right.
Nobody ever thought Tom Brady was taking Drew Bledsoe's job, especially on a team that was winning football games. And he did.
Right.
And that's a difference. I mean, you look at these guys, the middle round quarterbacks drafted in the NFL sometimes have better chances to succeed than the guys in round one because they're going to better situations. They're not going somewhere where, we need you to take over the offense of a bad team.
Sure.
And that's what Geno Smith did. And that's the biggest difference between Geno Smith then and now is better situation, better coaching.
Right. And that brings us to the game today. You know, an improved Geno Smith, an improved Daniel Jones. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a great game. The only crappy part is that it's in Seattle. I wish if I would have known that this was going to be how it was, this would have been one of the games I would wanted to go see because of how improved Seattle is. Like, Billy, we legit thought Seattle was going to win 3 games this year.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Seattle was a basement team picked by everybody. And Chet's right. I got to be honest here. These are the 2 front runners in my mind for Coach of the Year.
I agree.
Brian Daboll, Pete Carroll. I mean, they're doing great jobs with teams. They're getting the most out of the players they have.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
That is sometimes understated, especially in the NFL, because the number one thing usually happens when you're a bad team is the coach goes. The coach takes the downfall more times than they probably should when there's a bad team.
Sure.
These guys are going out there and they're getting the most out of that team.
Yeah.
And I think both of them, I wouldn't mind if these guys keep it up and you tell me there's a co-coach of the year award this year and both of those guys get it. I wouldn't be angry, even as a Giant fan. I wouldn't be angry to see Brian Daboll share the award with Pete Carroll if it came down to it, because both are deserving.
Right.
But, I mean, Lou, the number one thing today, the Giant offense, I've said it for weeks, start quick. They did it last week. They scored on the opening drive. I'm not saying they have to go out and do the same today. I'd love to see it as a fan, but you got to score points in the first quarter, in the first half. You can't keep having to come from behind every game, because eventually it's going to catch up to you.
And not even that, Billy. We haven't even played the Eagles yet. When we play teams like the Eagles,
that's just not good enough, and you're not going to do that.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
And let's be real. Seattle is one of the toughest road games in the NFL with that stadium and with that fan base. This is not going to be an easy game today by any stretch of the imagination. The Giants are going to have to go out and earn it. What I need to see from the Giants today, I need a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley. We're talking about 2 teams that one weakness that both teams have, they're not very good against the run. And one thing that both teams also have in common, they both have good running games. Both teams are going to need to use them today. And to me, Saquon is the better running back. No offense to Kenneth Walker. He hasn't done it as long as Saquon. He hasn't proven himself to be in the conversation with Saquon Barkley. This is what we need to see today. We need a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley. We need Daniel Jones to make some plays with his legs, to make the passes that he can. He's going to be hurt by the loss of Bellinger because, I mean, say what you want, Bellinger was one of the targets he was confident in. Bellinger was a guy you seen him go on 3rd and short, to make a big play, that he had confidence in hanging on to the ball. We saw frustration from Daniel Jones last week for the first time probably ever. I loved it.
I love that he's showing
Jones
emotion.
Get pissed off when his receivers are dropping balls they should be catching. It's one of the primary reasons that I need to see the Giants make an investment in this team before Tuesday and bring in a wide receiver.
Agreed.
But he had every right to show the frustration he did. Let's hope that frustration doesn't catch up to the Giants today, because even with the run game of both the quarterback and Saquon, they're going to have to make some big passes to win this game.
Agreed. I think they're going to have to make some not even big passes. Not even big passes. They're going to have to make some big plays. Playing, like you said, playing in Seattle, playing against a pumped up young Seattle offense. It's going to be. I can't wait to watch this game. I think it's going to be an amazing game. It's
going to be awesome. I mean, The offensive line is up for a task without Neal. I'm hoping this is the only game he misses this week, then the bye. 2 weeks to rest up. Hopefully he's back. But something that we're not hearing enough about, and I hope to see on every pregame show today, Nick Gates is back. And this is nothing short of a miracle to see this guy back on the field again. You're talking about a guy that broke his leg last year.
During the game.
7 surgeries, Lou. 7 surgeries. And this guy is back a year later. I want to see this guy go out and dominate because nobody deserves it more.
Right. I remember that injury last year. I'm pretty sure it was on a Thursday night football game too, if I remember correctly.
It
was awful.
Nobody expected to ever see Nick Gates on a football field again, let alone back the following season. And I wish him all the success in the world. It's, to me, the number 2 comeback story in the NFL this year, behind what happened with Brian Robinson in Washington and him getting back out there. I mean, this is a guy that in the same, we thought may never play again. Nobody expected to hear the name Nick Gates active ever. And I think when he runs out of that tunnel today, there's going to be no player happier to be on an NFL football field than Nick Gates.
Agreed. I agree. 7-0 Jags. Ooh, the fact, real quick, I know it was on the show last week, the fact that Evan Ingram was involved with that Jaguar defense and coincidentally made every single catch that was thrown to him. Meanwhile, when he was in New York, he dropped every other pass. I wanted to punch him in the head.
Lou, it's simple. The guy, it was a change of scenery needed on both sides.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's just what it is. And I feel the same thing about Kadarius Toney that we were talking about earlier. Sometimes a change of scenery is best for everyone.
Right. No, I agree.
I mean, if Evan Ingram was still here, we may never have seen the potential that Bellinger has. We may never have drafted Bellinger. And he is a better fit for this offense than Evan Ingram ever was.
No,
so
I agree.
I'm not angry. I don't want to see, Evan Ingram never did anything except get hurt and not play well. He had a string of bad luck here in New York, and he's out there, and we always knew the potential was there. That's why he was a first-round draft pick. I mean, let's be real. Yeah. The guy always had the potential, similar to Geno Smith. You always knew the potential was there. It's what scenario, what fit is going to unlock it.
Right. All right, and this brings us to our fantasy picks for the week. Billy, we're going over our top 3 fantasy football picks this week. Billy, tell me, you name your first guy, and then I'll go on to name mine.
My number 1 is a combo of Davis Mills and Brandon Cooks of the Houston Texans. Tennessee is god-awful against the pass. Probably one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think these guys are going to go out and everybody's been waiting for the Brandon Cooks game. I think we're going to see it today. And you don't have the Brandon Cooks game without the Davis Mills game. So I think we're going to see a lot out of those guys today.
Billy, if we're going to do combos, I'm going to do a combo today as well. I am actually going with Jared Goff and TJ Hawkinson against the Miami Dolphins. Listen, the Dolphins, I think this, and you guys might think I'm crazy, I think the Lions win straight up today. The Lions are home. They're honestly, Billy, the way that they've been playing besides last week, the fact that they're 1-5 is crazy because they've been playing like they were 5-1 team.
Except the Patriot game, which was a stinker. They've been in every game they lost, and it's got to turn around.
And I think it's if it's going to turn around, it's going to be today. St. Brown is still questionable before going into
it was announced earlier. He cleared concussion protocols. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a go today.
Okay, so that I'm switching it up to Jared Goff and St. Brown today against a questionable secondary Miami team.
No, I mean the Miami Dolphins secondary actually has been pretty solid. I mean, I think they have some good players back there, but I think this is a winnable game for the Lions. I don't know if they're going to win it. I'm going to be picking them to win it, but I mean the Miami Dolphins are a good football team.
I know they're a good football team, but there's usually an upset every week, Billy. This is my upset.
Oh, absolutely. I got a couple today. There are quite a few underdogs I like today, and the Lions are one of them. But Luke, going to my second pick of the week, I'm going to homer a little bit. It's going to be Saquon. Like we said, Seattle is bad against the run. The Giants have to exploit that. And if you're going to exploit bad run defenses, you're going to do it with the guy who's been so far the 1-1A with Nick Chubb. It's Saquon Barkley.
That's fair. That's a good pick. And this goes to somebody else who was probably in this conversation a lot last year. I'm going with DeAndre Hopkins against a Minnesota Vikings secondary. Listen, he had 14 targets last week, no touchdowns, is only about 7,400 on DraftKings. I like this pick as far as fantasy picks goes for DeAndre Hopkins this week. I think he's going to even get, if he doesn't get minimum 10 looks today and a touchdown, I'm going to be very surprised.
It's going to be a good one in Minnesota.
Yeah, especially since they lost Malcolm Brown. So
not Malcolm, Hollywood.
Hollywood Brown, right? Marquise Brown. Sorry.
I mean, that's a pretty big pick there. Arizona, I think they're 0-10 in their last 10 games in Minnesota. They don't play well there. The Vikings, to me, are the best team in that division. So that's going to be a good matchup to watch. But my final pick of the day, I'm going quarterback. I'm going with Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is going to go out there and light up the Pittsburgh Steelers today. They are a bad team, and it's just going to be like one of those games where the good team's going to kick the bad team's ass, to be honest with you.
Sure. No, that's fair. And my last one is actually going to be Jonathan Taylor against the Washington Commanders. We have not seen a big week out of Jonathan Taylor. They're finally switching up the quarterback. Matt Ryan is officially sat. I think they're going to be doing. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of run today by Jonathan Taylor for the simple fact that Matt Ryan is not the quarterback.
I mean, yeah. It looks to me the Colts are trying to follow the NFL trend right now, and the trend is you got to have a quarterback that can make plays with his legs. And Ellinger, from everything I've seen, he can. And it's going to be interesting. You know, he could be one of those guys where a lot of people look past the Colts today and go, oh, what is this? Who's this guy? They stink. Blah, blah. I don't know if that's the case. You know, we don't know much about this guy at all. So I'm interested to see what he brings. Sure. And again, we've seen it with Daniel Jones and Barkley. We know Jonathan Taylor he was the best running back in the NFL last year. We know the potential. Let's see if it gets unlocked this week. It's a good one.
No, real good one for sure. All right, Billy. Those are our fantasy football picks. Yep. Let's go straight into lose letdown of the week. Billy, it would be easy for me to say that the letdown of the week last week was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers not scoring a touchdown, only scoring 3 points to the Carolina Panthers, who lost CMC that week too. What am I watching here? But that's too easy, Billy. My letdown of the week is honestly, it's going to be the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers at this point are 4-3. I honestly thought that this team, with the schedule that they had, should have been 6-1 by now, and they're 4-3. I know Seattle is obviously a good team. We just spoke about them because they're playing the Giants today. But the Chargers and that offense without Keenan Allen is showing that there is a hole that Mike Williams just cannot fill. And without Keenan Allen being a consistent player, I think it opens them up to being not as good of a team as we thought. And I'm not taking anything away from Justin Herbert. I'm not taking anything away from Austin Eckler. But without Keenan Allen, that team, it seems to be failing offensively. And it's a little bit of a letdown because Mike Williams obviously plays a great number 2 role, but he's getting kind of shut down at that number 1 role, Billy. And it's a little rough for me to see. I
mean, Austin Eckler aside, that entire offense is playing like a number 2. Let's be serious.
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. And that could be because there's no Keenan Allen there. There's no Keenan Allen to have the 14 targets to have to double coverage him.
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, they're on the bye this week. Keenan Allen hopefully he'll be back next week. I don't know if Mike Williams is going to be back next week. He got hurt. he's notoriously been a slow healer from injury. So they might now go back to getting Keenan Allen back and losing Mike Williams. So, who's to say? I mean, a key to watching that offense the second half of the year is going to be Josh Palmer, because he seems to be the only wide receiver that stays on the damn field.
No, it's true.
I mean, they got to start using him more. And he's a guy, he can make plays. He's made the plays when given the opportunity. We may see him get a lot more of them. But Lou, it's bold prediction time. And I got two of them for you today. I've kind of hinted at both already. But my number one is going to be the New York Jets. The Jets are going to win this game today, as they should. And they are going to be playing the Buffalo Bills for first place in the AFC East next week.
Why are the Jets underdog today?
It's because Bill Belichick the name still gets that aura, and it still means something in Vegas. And because they went out 2 weeks ago and beat the crap out of a crappy Bears team, that mystique still exists for some people. It doesn't exist for me anymore, because the team is just not that good. And everything I've been very against for a long time, the bad personnel moves that Bill Belichick, the GM, has made. And as you see right now, they're all catching up in a lot of ways.
Sure. Yeah.
People in New York want to talk about the crap GM job they feel Brian Cashman has done. Bill Belichick has been far worse of a GM for himself than Brian Cashman has been for the New York Yankees. And it's not even a question. But my second pick of the day, my second bold prediction, is that the Carolina Panthers, come 7 o'clock today, come the end of football afternoon, the Carolina Panthers are going to be the first place team. And
they're not beating the Atlanta Falcons today.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
They're
not.
What have the Falcons done to give you any confidence that team is a guarantee to beat anyone? You look at last week. Look at the game. They beat the Bucs last week. As bad as the Bucs are, they're still a better team than the Falcons. So why can't they? They got rid of Matt Rule. They got rid of CMC. Baker Mayfield's injured. You finally see a team out there playing like a team and showing some potential to be a team. Geno Smith did it. Why can't PJ Walker?
I'll give you it right now, Billy. The two words: Marcus Mariota. He's been playing very well, considering that he hasn't gotten their tight end involved a lot. That he hasn't really been throwing the ball a lot. He hasn't gotten. What is the tight end's name, Billy? I'm sorry. Kyle Pitts. He hasn't gotten in Kyle Pitts a lot, and I think if they start meshing up a little bit, I think that this is not scary, especially with Patterson coming back. I think it's going to be a good football team. And I think that they're way better than you think. And I think Carolina just played against a shitty Tampa Bay Buccaneers team last week. That's when you say something, not me. I'm not the mush anymore, brother. I called Rams winning the Super Bowl last year. Where were you? You were the only one cheering for the Bengals to win.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, the biggest detriment to the Atlanta Falcons team is bad coaching. Mm-hmm. You can't outrun bad coaching. And Arthur Smith, he's a bad head coach. And it shows. You have Kyle Pitts, who can be and should be in the Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, George Kittle conversation of best tight ends in the NFL, and they don't even use them. They don't even draw up offensive plays for the guy who is their best offensive playmaker. They are a bad coach team.
Right. No, they're bad. They're bad. For sure.
It's just not, and that's going to take us right now. Let's keep going. Let's round this up with our Week 8 picks. We start off with the game that's going on right now that has a 7-0 Jaguars lead in it. Lou, who do you like, Broncos or the Jaguars?
I still, even though they're winning 7-0, I thought the Jaguars were going to win this game before, because Denver is probably the most disappointing team in football that I've noticed, and they suck, Billy. They suck. Okay, they suck, and Jacksonville is hungry. Jacksonville plays hard every single week under Doug Peterson. I think I still like the Jaguars regardless.
I hear you. I'm taking the Broncos in this game because to me, this is the type of game that Russell Wilson wins to try to restore faith before he lets you down again. And that's what I expect to see today. I expect the Broncos to win this game, a little bit of buzz to start, and then he's going to come back and let you down again. You know, it's like that ex-girlfriend that you know you shouldn't get back together with. You get drunk, shit happens, and then she does the same exact thing to you all over. That's what I see happen here today with that game. But moving on, we've already gave the predictions. Panthers at the Falcons. We're on opposite ends of this one. I like the Panthers. You like the Falcons. We'll see how that one plays out. But
Sure.
Lou, another game that should take 2 seconds to pick. The Bears at the Cowboys. Who do you like in this one? If I even have to ask.
The Cowboys. I'll be surprised if the Bears score 7 points today.
Absolutely. I mean, the Bears, they stink. They came back. They beat the Patriots last week. I don't know how. I don't know why, but they did. And
Justin Fields stinks. That coaching stinks.
I don't know. Again, another situation where I don't know if it's Justin Fields. I don't know if it's bad coaching. Chet, right. I'm not worried about Ezekiel Elliott not playing. He stinks. Tony Pollard is the better running back there anyway. Micah Parsons, if this is true and he's officially been ruled out, it's gonna be a big thing. But I don't know. I
still think the Cowboys win.
I still don't know if that's enough to give the Bears an edge in this game. I'm going with the Cowboys. Enough said on that one. The Dolphins at the Lions. I think we have a family play here, Lou. You already said the Lions. I like the Lions in this one, especially getting 3.5 points at home. Remember one thing. The Lions are a team, they're a better team than their 1-5 record shows. Most of their struggles come on the road. They are a tough home team. They're at home today. I like the Lions to take this one.
Same, Billy. There's just something that you just feel sometimes, and it's one of those things. I feel that the Lions are going to win this game, and I think they're going to. I think they're going to put on a little bit of a display. I really do, because they have to. They have to. They're 1-5. They have to. So I think this is the game, and this goes to our next game. The Cardinals versus the Vikings are at home against the Cardinals. Billy, who do you like here?
I like the Vikings. The Vikings are, to me, the best team in the NFC North. They're going to be in first place alone, as they should be, because there's not another team in that division, to me, talent-wise, that's even close to the Minnesota Vikings. The Cardinals, they're a team you look at, and you look at the roster, you look at it on paper and go, why is this team that bad? And we just don't have an answer, but they are. They're not good.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins is officially back. But I'm going to name but he's only the second best wide receiver on that field today, and that goes to Justin Jefferson. And I think the Vikings are just going to – I think they're going to beat them too. I just think DeAndre Hopkins is going to have a good fantasy day. But I think Justin Jefferson and the Vikings do win that game.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not even close.
Yep.
I think the Vikings win comfortably. I don't see it as a blowout, but I think there's going to be a comfortable margin for a win in that game by the Minnesota Vikings. And that takes us now, the Raiders at the Saints. To me, it looks like Andy Dalton is the starter in New Orleans for the rest of the year. I don't know if Jameis Winston's healthy. I don't know if they just don't believe in Jameis Winston anymore. I have no idea what's going on there. The one thing I do know is the Saints aren't a good team. Michael Thomas is out again. To me, his career, definitely in New Orleans, if not in general, is over, because we're now in year 3 of the fact that this guy cannot just get healthy and play a season of football. So I don't know what goes on there. But one thing I do know is the Raiders are going to go on the road and win this game.
Yeah, I agree. And the Raiders need some kind of winning streak going on here, and I think it starts with the Saints. I think the Raiders win this game. I'm not gonna say they kill them, but I say they win this game easily.
Absolutely. Lou, the next matchup, I already gave my pick. The Patriots at the Jets. Who do you like in this game?
The Jets are the better. Of course, you say the Saints are going to win. The Jets are the better football team here. I think that this is New York's time to shine, to finally beat Bill Belichick and with the Patriots. And they're playing in New York. I like the Jets here today, Billy.
Absolutely. I mean, it's time. We've said it countless times in the last hour plus. The Jets are the better football team. I think this is the statement that New York Jet fans need to see from their team today, and that's to go out and beat the crap out of Bill Belichick. And
Agree.
I think today's the day you're going to get it, Jet fans.
And this goes to our next game, Pittsburgh at Philadelphia. The two Pennsylvania teams going at it. Billy, who do you like here?
The Eagles. It's not even going to be close. I think this game is going to be ugly early, and it's going to stay that way. I mean, Philadelphia is on a sports high right now. The Eagles are undefeated. The Phillies are in the World Series. I think the wave keeps riding in Philly today.
Yeah, listen, I like Kenny Pickett. I think he is the future of Pittsburgh, but they go six. They go two. They're two.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
the future is not now. I mean, it's got to take time. It's got to develop. I think Pittsburgh's in a situation where they wish Kenny Pickett wasn't on the field yet, because that means Mitch Trubisky would have been playing better football and they'd have more than 2 wins. But it wasn't the case. Pickett was definitely the better quarterback to have out there, but it's going to take time. The kid needs time to develop.
Yep. First 4:00 game, Billy. Tennessee Titans at Houston Texans. Who do you like here, Bill?
I like the Texans, and I'll tell you what. I was on the Texans this week before Ryan Tannehill was announced out yesterday, and we heard that Malik Willis was going to be making his first NFL start. I think this is a game, the Texans at home, they can steal it, and they're going to.
You know, Billy, I'm going to agree with you. I think the Texans win this week. I think they do too. And listen, they play division rivals very well. I don't know what it is about the Texans, but they've covered like every freaking, I think they've lost one spread this year so far. And the Texans, you know, they're still a young team. This might be the last time you see Brandon Cooks in a Texans uniform. He's on the market. He might have something to prove today, whether than obviously not going to the playoffs with the Texans. But I think there's something to prove today, and I think the Texans actually win this game too.
I think I think they can go out there today and throw the ball all over a bad Tennessee secondary, and that's how it's going to happen. Blue, our next matchup, the Washington Commanders at the Sam Ehlinger-led Indianapolis Colts. I've been all on another game this week. I like Washington. I've been on Washington all week. I think it's going to be time today for the Washington management to see they may have their quarterback in Taylor Heinicke.
I mean, Taylor Heinicke was the starting quarterback for their playoffs last year.
But they've done everything not to give this kid a shot, to be the quarterback. You know, he went out there, he took them to the playoffs last year, then they shit on him.
Right.
Oh, let's go get Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz makes us a better football team. Carson Wentz hasn't made anyone a better football team in many years now. I mean, it's sad to say he's washed up at 30. He's not even 30 yet. Carson Wentz is washed up. And Taylor Heinicke is the better choice for this team. I think they have their quarterback of the future and the present right there in Heinicke. And I think they may start seeing it and realizing it after another win today.
I actually agree with you there, Pete. But listen, I actually do think today is I'm kind of second guessing my Jonathan Taylor pick now, because now I'm thinking about it. I might have to do some retracting here. I might have to do some retracting, Billy. But I kind of understand what you're saying. But my thing is, if Jonathan Taylor has a big game, I can see them winning this game as well too. That's the only thing.
I don't know if they're going to have the opportunity to establish the run Because if they're gonna, it's gonna have to be from the beginning. Because I think they're going to be trailing in this game and need to move the ball. And I think I think in his first game, Ellinger's going to have a test of playing from behind and having to throw the ball and having to get points on the board quick.
Right. Not true. Okay. We'll see. For right now, I'm still going to go with the Colts, but I'm kind of seeing what you're saying there. I might be changing my mind. San Francisco at Los Angeles Rams. Billy, who do you like here, Billy?
The San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. They've lost a lot of football games to the Rams lately. That streak is going to end today because the 49ers, they're the better team on both sides of the ball. Even without Debo today, they get McCaffrey. You know, he played a role last week. He was effective in limited use last week. Now he's got another full week behind him. He's going to be the starter. He's going to see a ton of work in both the running and passing game. I think they're going to step on the Rams today, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, if this was last year, I think I might be going with the Rams. It's not last year. This is the San Francisco 49ers game for the losing, in my opinion, in Los Angeles. I think San Francisco's going to win this game.
Absolutely. And then, Lou, it takes us now, our game of the week, the Giants at the Seahawks. It's safe to say, I think we got a family play here again. We're both on the New York Giants.
Can't doubt them now. Can't doubt them now.
This is a game we need today because they need to show the fight to go into a tough road environment against another team playing above expectations and come out with a win.
Yeah, and listen, Geno Smith's been hot. The Seattle Seahawks have been hot. The Giants have been hot too.
Exactly.
I think they're going to win.
So have the Giants. And that takes us now Sunday Night Football, a game that I don't think anybody expects to be much of a game. The Packers at the Buffalo Bills.
It's the Josh Allen show. Aaron Rodgers, take a seat. I don't want to say that the Packers are going to be humiliated on Sunday Night Football, but I think the Buffalo Bills are going to do what they've been doing all year, scoring early, maintaining that defense, to hold points up. The Bills are going to win this game.
Absolutely. I mean, I said this, if you remember, in our preseason predictions, Lou. The lack of talent brought into Green Bay is eventually going to catch up. And honestly, it's caught up faster than I even anticipated.
Sure.
And they're just not good. They're not good. They can't get leads. So the two most talented players on their offense, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, they're not getting as much. They're not getting to dominate the ball because they're playing from behind. So this has really been on Aaron Rodgers and a group of bad receivers.
Agreed. I agree with you. And Aaron Rodgers is in trouble. Aaron Rodgers is showing that he needs a Jordy Nelson or a Devontae Adams on that team to be effective. That's just what it is. Simple as that.
I mean, it's not even that. Good receivers.
Right.
Good receivers. I mean, you see the Giants. I mean, the Giants are one of the only winning teams out there that are doing it
without a wide receiver.
Without good receivers.
Yep.
You can make the case, and it's been made in Buffalo before they got Diggs. I mean, the good receivers make the difference. Look at Josh Allen's numbers before and after Stephon Diggs came to Buffalo.
Agreed.
I mean, and that's just what you see. To me, receiver is the most important offensive position after quarterback now. That's the way the league is.
Yeah.
I mean, look what they just did in Carolina. They had a choice. Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore. They weren't keeping both of them. What did they do? They traded the running back, kept the receiver.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying DJ Moore's a better player than Christian McCaffrey because he's not, but it shows you where the mindset and where the game is going has gone already. And Green Bay is one of the last teams to catch on to it because they went out and gave Aaron Rodgers the money. They gave Aaron Jones the money. They didn't give it to the wide receiver.
Right.
And they're paying for it now.
The one thing I will say though is that Christian McCaffrey does get hurt a lot. I would probably have done that too.
He does, but I mean, Blue, that's where the game is going.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know, the 49ers were in a different position. The 49ers have the receiver. They actually, you can make an argument, have three of them with Debo, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle as a receiver. They have the receivers in place for Jimmy G this year, for Trey Lance in the future. They have them there. They went out and got the running back after.
Sure.
And I mean, look, one guy, we're talking the Buffalo Bills right now. You never hear the name Devin Singletary. I mean, Devin Singletary has had a very strong season so far, but you don't hear him talked about. You talk about the Buffalo Bills offense. You talk Josh Allen. You talk Diggs. You talk Gabe Davis. You even talk Dawson Knox before you're talking Devin Singletary.
Sure. No, I agree. I agree with you.
And Lou, this brings us to the last game of the week, the Monday night game. Cincinnati, the Jamar Chase-less Cincinnati Bengals in Cleveland to play the Browns. Who do you like in this one?
No Chase, no problem. I still think the Bengals are going to take down the Cleveland Browns. No problem. I was sold on the Browns when they were 2-1. They've lost their last 4 games in a row. They had a horrific loss to the Jets a few weeks back. Okay, you have Chubb, you have Hunt. That's cool. Joe, it's called Joe Mother effing Burrow time.
Lou, I'm on the opposite end of this
one.
I'm taking the Browns in this game because, like I said, how you need to see now what the other weapons in Cincinnati can do without the presence of Jamar Chase on the field and the attention he commands. And I don't know if the first week without him is going to be the week you see that. I think Cleveland at home again, a tough place to play. The dog pound. I don't know. I think Cleveland wins this game.
All right, we'll see. We'll see, Billy. We'll see. But I still think Cincinnati pulls it out.
We will see tomorrow night. We'll see which one of us is right. But Lou, this takes us to the end today. We've been here. We're going a little over an hour now because there's just a lot of great things to talk about in football. And that's what we love, and that's why we're here. Guys, enjoy your NFL Sunday. Have a great one. I hope your picks come true. Unless you're picking against my New York Giants, then I hope you lose. Have a good one, fantasy-wise, betting-wise. Enjoy your Sunday. Lou, say what you got to say, brother.
Let's go, Philadelphia Phillies. Take down this cheating Houston Astros team. I know we're not talking baseball today, but I don't give a shit. Fuck the Houston Astros. Let's go, Giants. Let's go, Jets. I'm okay with saying that now.
Absolutely. I want to see, before the Giant game starts, I want to be excited. I want to be yelling at my TV a little while today for the New York Jets. Let's go, guys. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy your week. Have a happy Halloween. I'm going to go get the rest of Chucky off of me and enjoy a lazy Sunday.
That's what she said. Have a good rest of your day, guys.